And we are live. Hello, everybody. sPidA here once again. The Fight Card Podcast coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. My guest, not so much, my man. You are in Missouri, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
And of
Saying,
course, man, I mean, we are talking earlier, conversing as far as our time frame. We're both in Central Time. Of course,
yep.
trying to rush home and get something to eat before we started this. But I appreciate your time and thank you for jumping on this, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem.
And I mean, a few things, man, right off the bat, dude. I mean, when it comes to why I'm bringing you on here, of course, the whole slap fight championship, when it came out, as far as like the sport, it raised a lot of eyebrows. A lot of people were kind of like, man, what's going on? Why are they doing this? Who'd want to do this? Well, you want to do this, right? You've been doing this, so um,
Yeah.
when it comes down to full contact sports, man, because of course you're still getting contact. I mean, when did the whole full contact sport begin for you, man? What were you doing before this?
Well, so I was married for a while. That got divorced, but while I was in that relationship, wanted to do boxing or MMA. She was anti that. So when I got out of the relationship, then I was like, I'm gonna do MMA or boxing. And so I was actually training with a buddy of mine for my first MMA fight. And
Oh,
then Frank the Tank, he's actually a heavyweight champion with us.
yeah.
He actually came out and was like, "Hey, do you guys know anybody who wants to slap fight?" And so he got us linked up with them, and then we're like, "Yeah, we'll do it." So, and then next thing you know, we started doing it, and yeah,
And man, I mean, of course, like I was saying earlier, when it first came out in the scene and people, it raised a lot of eyebrows. I mean, a lot of people were like, man, is it going to happen? And I mean, if it does, is it going to stay afloat? Well, it did happen and it is afloat. I mean, it's been going on yourself, man. How many matchups have you had on the promotion?
I have had 5 fights so far since I started doing it. But I mean, slap fights the same way with like with MMA when it first came out.
Yeah.
Everybody, was like, "Oh no, no, this we can't have this, we can't have this," and there was a lot of hoops that people had to jump through in order to get MMA to where it is now. And I mean, I feel like the same way it's going to happen with slap fight. Slap fighting is people are going to raise their eyebrows, but eventually people are going to come around to it, and there's still going to be haters no matter what sport it is.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And if it's not under sport, it's going to be certain athletes or certain fighters. It's just fans are
Yeah.
crazy, So of course, but yeah, man. I mean, but yourself, I mean, like you said, you wanted to do MMA, slap fight. Of course, came knocking. You jumped on there. Are you still thinking about doing MMA?
I don't know. Like, so I'm 36, and I know like as far as to be taken seriously as an MMA athlete, like it's kind of hard to get in when you're getting to the older years, which I'm not saying I'm old by no means, but I mean, as far as if I wanted to actually take it to a pro level, I feel like I should have probably started at a younger age. But I mean, to do it amateur, I might consider it, but as for right now, kind of just sticking with slap fight right now.
And I mean, how does the promotion work? Because of course they were. I remember there was a time when they were recruiting or just asking, throwing the word out. I mean, when you went out there and you said, "Hey, I want to do it," I mean, what was the first thing they told you? I mean, were they like, "Hey, you know what? This is what it's about. The rules." I mean, what did you guys talk about?
Well, as far as that goes, like, I mean, Frank, definitely helped out with training me just to kind of get my, make sure I'm not stepping, because with like rules are, you're not allowed to lift your heels, you're not allowed to pivot your feet. I definitely had to work with Frank a lot on that. And then, I mean, as far as that goes, if people are interested in it, I know on the website they used to have, and I'm pretty sure they still do, like submission form. If you're interested in doing it, you can put a fighter submission in, and I mean it asks basic questions like name, location, are you healthy enough to actually do it? Because you'd be surprised how many people probably be like, oh, I'm 16, or I'm an 80-year-old man that wants to try this out of the last and you don't want people, especially you can't be under 18, of course, but I
Right,
mean,
right.
and you don't want somebody who's actually, got a serious health condition that trying to do it. So,
No, no, for sure, man. Because I mean, just within the promotion, I mean, Slap Fight, of course, in general, man. But there's other promotions out there that are doing the same thing, bringing in celebrities, bringing in old, as far as not old, but I mean, just UFC fighters, UFC veteran, should I say? And so it has gained momentum. It's still steamrolling. I mean, I do watch it. I'm not gonna lie. When I see the videos, I gotta watch it. I'm like, damn. And one of the things for me, man. I mean, there's a lot of things that, like you said, there's rules that come with it as far as no stepping, not no racing the heel. But is there like a? Do they say like, hey, are you right-handed or are you left-handed? Is there a certain, there's certain techniques that you don't use or you can't do?
So like when you start a match, you either tell them you're doing your right hand or you're using the left hand. Like, so you can't switch up in the middle of the match and be like, okay, I'm tired of using my right hand. I'm gonna use my left hand. You have to use the hand that you designated towards the fight. And it's just, if something goes wrong with that hand or you get hurt, it's one of those things, you're kind of stuck with that hand or you kind of got to forfeit. That happened to me. So I'm happy about that at least.
No, no, for sure, man. Because of course, injuries. I mean, people
Hmm.
thinking, oh, you know what, it's just a slap. But I mean, I see the impact. I see the damage that it does. Um, back in the day, for myself, we used to do. This was like in '99, 2000 when we started here in San Antonio, and it was before they allowed closed fists. Like we couldn't do closed fists in Texas, so we used to have to do open hand, like pancrase, right?
Oh, wow.
And so
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, you're slapping," and I said, "Man, like if you get hit with a palm, like you're gonna feel it, man. I mean, there's
Hmm.
it's less damage for the guy striking because you're not busting your knuckles, but at the same time, like the palm strikes, those things hurt like hell. And
Oh,
so
yeah, it
it's
does.
kind of the same thing, man, because you guys are hitting like full hand. I mean, is there like a like part of your hand you can't use, or I mean, you can't go like past a year, right? Or there's rules like that?
So, there's tape usually. Like I have this wristband, but like there's tape that goes around your wrist, and you'll see a lot of the fighters have that on their wrists. And that tape actually is not allowed to go past your physical chin.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's to make sure that you're not clubbing the heck out of somebody. I mean, again, it is a physical contact sport, but nobody wants to see anybody get seriously injured. Like, I mean, nobody wants anybody dead, of course. And I mean,
Right.
and that's the main thing is, I mean, fighter safety is definitely, I mean, that's why I like, who I'm with sci-fi championship, because I mean, they at least they have the fighters in mind as far as, and I mean, that's where I started. I mean, I'll be honest, that's probably where I'll end up staying for the rest of the time I'm doing slap fighting until I'm at least not able to do it no more.
No, for sure, man. And of course, man, I mean, when it comes to like you said, the training, I mean, you did have Frank the Tank, of course, helping you and coaching you, getting ready. But what were some of the conditioning drills you were doing, man? I mean, were you doing I mean, hitting bags? Were you hitting? I mean, did you condition yourself like that?
Yeah, well, see, currently what I do is I've got any kind of workouts I do, I try to keep more in the flexibility realm where I'm not like trying to beef up and get Arnold Schwarzenegger or Kai Green style, but but I'm trying to at least get a workout, but I still work on flexibility. Resistance bands are definitely a big one for me. I've got a heavy bag downstairs, and then I've got like a gym mat underneath it because it simulates, what we're sitting on in the barrel, and then I've got a rough estimate of what the barrel is, so I kind of know how far I need to stand far away back from it, and then I mark on the bag kind of different placements so I can kind of get a good accuracy, so I'm not hitting somebody and clubbing the heck out of them, because
No,
I
no.
don't want to hit somebody in the neck and I don't want to hit somebody in the top of the dome. I want to get right in a nice sweet spot. So
And of course, man, because I mean, I was currently working at this one sports store here in Texas, man, Academy Sports, right? And they sold
mm,
that century bag, the bob, the face, the head, and I was thinking, man, I mean, have you ever used something like that, or does that just not work for you guys or for yourself?
to be honest, that's out of my price range. I pretty much all my gym equipment I got for free for the most part. I think I got maybe $100 worth of gym equipment, but like the rest of it's like all free stuff. But my heavy
Oh,
bag, I picked it up off the side of the street like 2 towns over, and was like, hey, it was free on Marketplace. It was like, hey, I got this.
man, and of course, I mean, you're talking about flexibility. When it comes to conditioning, I mean, are there conditioning drills that you yourself use? I mean, obviously
Um,
you're standing there, but you got to be pretty, as far as conditioning.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. I'm big on stretching out shoulders, definitely. And then my arms. I do a lot of like if you've ever watched anybody stretch who does like Muay Thai,
Yeah.
especially like stretching out like hips, stuff like that. I try to make sure my hips are pretty, because I mean, a lot of people think, oh, it's all upper body strength that you're slapping people, but I mean, a lot of it comes from your knees and your hips and core rotation and stuff like that. Compared to where everybody's like, oh, I got 32-inch biceps, I can just smack somebody upside the face. No, you're probably gonna hurt somebody, but I mean, those other guys who've actually been working on technique and stuff like that. And
No, no,
but
for sure.
everybody's got their own style. I mean, I've kind of got my own style. Say mine is and if you've ever watched any of the fights and stuff like that, I'll keep one arm kind of similar to here, and then whenever I twist, I grab the back of my arm with one arm and I'll slap with the other arm, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
No, yeah, and
Yeah,
I've
it's kind
actually
of
seen that. I've actually seen that. I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah, that was just kind of something I was like trying to. So I was like, well, say everybody slaps a certain way, and I'm like, I want to see if this will work, and it kind of works out for me. I mean, some people have tried it and it kind of worked for them, and then they adjusted it, made it their own. But I mean, I don't think anybody's really doing exactly the same thing. But I mean, it's cool seeing somebody try it. But I mean, I like this way, with this, you got everybody's kind of come up with their own style. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll see that with a lot of the guys.
Yeah, and I was gonna say because I mean, for myself, like I mean, back in the heyday, man, we used to have some contact. I mean, like I said, Pancrase was around. Um, for me, like even now, like I'll be 50 this year, and I've been throwing around like the whole pillow fight. I'm like, hey man, I'll pillow fight somebody, man. Like I'm trying to get away from contact, but as far as like other sports like that, I mean, not to take away from the slap fight because of course it's its own platform. But have you thought about doing other competitive like sports?
So actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned that pillow fight thing. I actually put in a submission for that and got asked to try out for it. I only like checked my email like 2 days before the actual tryouts for it were, and so I was like, I ain't got the time or the money right now set aside to go down there, because I think it was all the way down in Florida, I think, and then
Yeah,
like I said, I'm up here in Missouri, so
yeah,
but yeah, I thought about that. I did think about trying to go into MMA a little bit. Boxing is my thing. Like I like boxing, but I mean, again, too, I'm a smoker, unfortunately, and smoking and
yeah.
moving around a whole bunch. At least with slap fighting, I mean, I don't have my cardio doesn't have to be like on top of my game, for that. But
No, but I mean,
so unfortunately, that
and of course, let me ask you, man. I mean, the nickname that you use, bro, Biscuit. The Slap
oh.
Happy Hippie, bro. I mean, Slap Happy and then Hippie. I'm thinking, okay, is that an oxymoron? Is that kind of like a contradicting?
So the biscuit part actually came first. So when I was young, dumb, and did a lot of dumb stuff, I played a band for like 8 years and toured around Missouri and stuff like that. But when I was younger, I would wear his camouflage coat and carry biscuits in my pocket. And then we'd be having a conversation like we are now, and I'd pull a biscuit out of my pocket, take a bite out of it, stick it back in my pocket. People were like, "You're Biscuit," and I was just way too into dumb things back then. It was like, yeah. And then I got a Pillsbury Doughboy tattooed on my arm just to commemorate that when I was like turned 18. And it kind of stuck. And then the slap happy hippie part kind of came up later. Say it kind of came up, a buddy of mine and I had like a little like Facebook messenger like group chat thing with us, and we called it slap happy. And then everybody says with the hat they call me like a hippie kind of thing, so automatically they were like, I was like, that'd be kind of it had a good rhyme scheme to it, and I was like, I think that could probably be a good marketing on my name, I
Oh
guess,
yeah,
whatever you
dude.
would call it. Yeah.
By all means, man, it's a brand right there, man. Because I mean, of course, people you say it enough times, people are gonna be like, oh, okay, they're gonna remember one of them, as far as Slap Happy or Hippie or Biscuit, get on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can get that, dude. I mean, let me ask you, as far as band, I mean, what kind of music do you listen to, or what were you guys playing when you were in the band? Let me ask you that first.
We did a combination of like punk and metal. So me and the guitar player were really into like Casualties, Exploited, a lot of like the hardcore punk, and then like Rancid, and not any of the newer stuff, but and then our drummer, he was, and our other guitarist, they were really into like metal. So like me and the drummer actually saw Children of Bodom and God Forbid, and Through the Eyes of the Dead back in '07, and then me and the other guitar player went and saw Annie Flag and the Street Dogs and the Briggs, I think in
Oh, nice.
'09.
Hell yeah,
So,
dude.
but yeah, I still keep in contact with all the guys, but I mean, we all kind of moved on, did our own thing. Like, one of our guitar players is actually a grandpa now. So, I mean, eh, but he's still cool. He still rides like a motorcycle, and he's got the big old long beard now. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. So,
No, you see, and a lot of bands too, of course, like, they've actually, they're still going, they exploited, Wadi. I mean, I think he had like another scare, as far as heart attack a while back. And, that guy's still out there rocking, man. So, of course, that this is what they want to keep doing. I know there was a few bands, like I used to have a zine back in like 92. I used to interview, punk bands that came through or just reach out. This is before social media, man. So I was writing letters, right? Getting interviews. But, a lot
hmm
of the guys that would come through, man, I was privileged to be able to go and cover them and hang out with the guys, take photos, and basically do what I'm doing now. So I used to get a kick out of it. But I still listen to punk rock, man. I still listen to like ska and freaking, some oi, hardcore, all that good stuff, bro. But yeah, it's one of those things. I just recently, and I'll just go ahead and plug this in, but local company, they're actually gonna be doing dropping their own vinyl records, bro. So for bands
oh
out there that
shit,
are like starting off and they want something on vinyl, like, definitely going to be the people to do it, man. But I'm excited to be able to start collaborating with these guys, like, as soon as possible, just because I want some stuff, man. So I told them, I was like, dude, like, I want this. I want to basically, I'm going to do like a mixtape on a vinyl. I want to put all my songs on one side, and the rest is just going to be compilation of just stuff that I want to listen to. So I'm looking
oh
forward to
hell
it.
yeah,
But yeah, bro. And as far
yeah.
as go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say actually, yeah. So I was actually in a band called Snatching Gnomes, and like it was a punk. It was more punk oriented in the beginning, but we used to go around steal yard gnomes out of people's front yards and stuff like that, and then we put them on stage, and like that
Nice.
was like how we got our name, and that was kind of like what our known for. Like we would paint them all up punk rock style and stuff like that, anarchy signs all over the place. It was pretty hectic, yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. I'll say this, man. There used to be this one punk band that was here locally, and they were called Crazy Spoonheads. So they used to have like those plastic spoonheads, like with the sports, and they used
Yeah.
to throw 'em at the crowd, man. And I love catchy names, bro. So when they came out, they actually had a good sound, man. It's just they disbanded after like a year or so, but good times, man. I mean, just checking out all the local bands. Recently, I think me and my buddy, he had posted like the Green Day. They were like touring, and the tickets were like $100, and I was like, man, I paid
hmm
like $5 to watch these guys back in '92. It's no way I'm spending 100, bro. So, but it's like it costs more money to travel now. So I guess.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, you got to think too nowadays. I mean, bands are not really making much off of album sales as they are making it off probably tour and merchandise and et cetera like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the sound system, the PA, the lights and everything. So yeah, it costs money, and I'm not gonna down that. I mean, of course, man, by all means, especially when
Yeah.
it's a big venue. I'm more of a smaller, venue kind of guy, man. I'd rather go to a show than a concert, man. So, but what
Yeah.
about
I
you, man?
say,
And let me ask you, what the fight themselves, man? When it comes to slap fight championship, walkout song, man. I mean, is there something that you usually listen to, like on the way out?
say I usually listen to music beforehand. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't really care too much on what's playing when I come out. But like, so let's see. I'm trying to think. The last fight I had, which it's been a while since I fought, but I'm hoping to get back in again. It's been kind of hectic on my side, so I haven't really been able to commit to anything. But I'm ready to now. But as far as music goes, I think last time I fought, I was listening to NoFX a whole bunch. It used to be "Bring Me the Horizon." That was there was a song by them, and oh, I can't think what they're Asian ladies that have a baby metal. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Baby Metal and King. They had a song called Kingslayer. It was kind of like got me right in the mood for it. And then yeah, I'm big on listening to like lately I've been listening to a lot of like Mike Tyson, like him talking about customato
Oh,
and their training techniques. That kind of helps me out. But as far as music goes, it's kind of been hit and miss. Lately, it's been more rap stuff, more on the older stuff, like kind of like Tupac. Sometimes it's usually, but it's usually like a remix of a song or something like that. Because I mean, it's
nice.
hard to get like ready to fuck somebody up listening to Tupac, you know. Don't get me wrong, I like the music, but it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
get the blood pumping.
yeah, it's kind of depends on where I'm trying to get mentally, you know, as far as you know, if I'm working out, okay, I'll listen to something that's a little bit more groovy. If I'm, you know, ready to, you know, try to knock somebody out, then yeah, I gotta have a little bit more upbeat or something.
No, no, for sure, man. Well, let me ask you, bro, because of course, I mean, when it comes to sports or fights, boxing, MMA, I'll always ask, guests, I mean, when it comes to when you first, told your family about this, I mean, what were they thinking? They were like, hey, what the hell's wrong with you, man? I mean, what were their thoughts?
Um, so my first fight was actually a live event. Because with Sci-Fi Championship, not all of them are live. They've had a couple live events in the past, but you know, then we have the undisclosed location that we go to. But as far as any of my live, the first fight I had was a live fight, and my mom and her husband showed up, and my mom was like crying because my eye was all swollen, and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then oh, it was I can't remember which fight it was, but I got knocked down by a dude, and like after the fight, like she's blowing up my phone, and I'm like, because she was watching it on, they had it on Fight TV, and so she was watching it on that, and she's like, "Are you okay?" So me and the guy, you know, I was like, "Hey, can I ask a favor?" He's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Can you take a picture just to, you know?"
Um,
So we took a picture together just to show her that, hey, you know, no hard feelings, we're good. You know, I mean, that's the cool thing about it is everybody's really respectful as far as like watching any of the fights. Like somebody gets knocked down, you know, you take a knee until that guy gets back up. I mean, there's good sportsmanship in it, and that's the main thing that's really cool about this sport is, you know, a lot of other sports, you know, you get that guy that's hooping and hollering while you're on the ground, and at least with us, we're pretty good about being respectful, you know,
yeah.
and trying to have good sportsmanship with it.
No, no, for sure, man. You see, and that's one of the things that happens, man, because of course, I mean, when it comes to like MMA or even boxing, there's a lot of shows, a lot of people just trying to make things personal, just to kind of hype up the fights and make sales. And of course, the promotions. I mean, I don't think they'll down it down and a lot enough to where you know what I mean. Like they want to make sales because of course they want to sell out, but it's just at the end of the
Exactly.
day, man. I mean, after a fight, you see it, man. I mean, guys that go at it, and after a while they just kind of like hug and hey, you know what, it's a hell of a fight, and they just kind of walk away. It's just you kind of have to leave it all inside the cage, man, whether you win or lose.
Exactly. And like, I mean, as far as us, like, I have no hard feelings toward anybody I ever fought before. As far as I go, like, I mean, we're in there to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to fuck each other up. And part of my language, I don't know if I could swear
Oh,
on
no, you're
here or
good,
not.
you're good.
And you know, that's the thing is, I mean, we're in there to do something, you know, get in there, do that, but afterwards, you know what? There's no hard feelings, and that's I have nothing against anybody I've ever fought against, and you know,
No,
everybody's
sure,
in
man.
there doing the same thing I am. So
And let me ask you, man. I mean, when it comes to the sport, I mean, a lot of competitors, they always look for sponsors, man. I mean, do you have sponsors yourself? I mean, are there companies out there, people that help you out?
Uh, I wish. I tried getting. I'll leave the sponsor name out, but I tried getting a supplement to sponsor me, and they responded back with I needed at least 1,000 followers on my
Oh,
Instagram, which I only have like 300 and something on Instagram, and then Facebook I just added to 10,000 people, which half of them turned to be spam. So uh I mean, I was selective in the beginning, but then I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing it. And Facebook actually makes it where you can only have 5,000 friends. I thought that was messed up. I didn't know there was a limit on that.
No, yeah,
But
because
I
after
don't.
a while, they can just follow you. They can't like your page, but they can continue to follow you. It's just, it's weird. It's just something they do, but yeah,
Yeah, well, see, yeah, I don't do technology too well. Like I was around in the days of MySpace, and I mean,
oh yeah, same here.
yeah, and MySpace was so much cooler than all this stuff they got nowadays. Like I don't mess with Twitter. Like I think I got an account, but I think it got shut down, or I don't know. I didn't even mess with it. This is before even slap fighting.
Yeah.
And Instagram, I got that, but then half the people are bots or or spam, and I like messing with the spam people. Like that's fun for me.
That's when you get a bunch of people trying to sell you geese, right?
Well, yeah, that, or I had somebody try to get me to buy him an Xbox, and I was just like, I looked up all the specs for a Craftsman lawnmower, and I was like, "Do you want to buy a lawnmower?" And I sent him all the specs for a lawnmower. I'm like, and then they stopped talking to me, and I was like, "Well, mission accomplished," But
No,
at first, they were like, "What?"
and that's funny you said Xbox because I had an issue with my old page where I actually got hacked and for I forgot my credit card was on there or my Cash App and they ended up hacking into my Cash App, took some money, and
Oh
just
man.
I ended up locking it to where the other day they tried to take out $120 for Xbox something and I'm like, what the hell? But they declined it. But I was just like, man, they're still at it, man. It's crazy. You
Hmm.
gotta be careful, man.
Yeah, that's why I just don't link any of my any bank stuff to
Yeah.
my accounts. It just keeps me safe. But
No, yeah, I
I don't
think I
know.
think what happened with me was that a buddy of mine was doing something for his kid's school, so I went ahead and I'll send it, and then they didn't have either Cash App or one of the two, but I ended up sending them something through Facebook, and that's where they got me, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Say I've had to use. I think I used that once back in the day, but it's been a while since I did it. But I made sure I deleted all my stuff afterwards. But I don't know. When in this day and age, it's yeah, it's hard. Making sure all that stuff's safe and people are always out trying to get your stuff. So.
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, it's crazy. And let me ask you, man, because the reason I was asking about sponsors because I'm real big. Like I've networked a lot. I used to sponsor fighters back in the day. I've managed. You know, fight is just work with UFC fighters and vice versa. To I always try to get them something. And when I started seeing this and started seeing the stop fighting, I was thinking like, man, what kind of sponsor would I be going after? And like one of the things was like a glove, a oven mitt, or something that you can keep your hand. Just I just started thinking of crazy stuff that you could reach out to. And is there other companies out there that you would? I mean, obviously you'd want to get sponsored, but is there companies that you would like wish they kind of reach out and say, hey, you know what, we can help you out? And
To be honest, like the place I get my supplements, that would be the one, but that's a NutriShop. I go to there for all my stuff. And then like as far as a hat, somebody that makes knitted hats, because trying to find a knit hat that's comfortable on my head is a pain. I've had this one for 15 years. Actually, no, I take that back. 2012, I was in college, so I bought this in college. That's how I even got this hat, and I got it for $5 off a mannequin head for a fundraiser. But that or like beard oil, man. Seeing you'd be surprised how dry this stuff gets up underneath the beard, especially like I've been growing mine out for since January of last year, so about a year now of that, and I haven't cut my hair in 2 years.
damn, you see, man. Well, that's what I'm thinking. Because of course, me. CBD is real big. Beard ointment, beard care packages. Glove for me for some reason that's always been like key, man. I can picture walking around with a glove, walking into the to the platform with
Mhm.
the glove in your hand, just getting ready, do the whole I don't know something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some guys too, like say it. I've been told about you ever seen like the guys that hit the sandbags,
Yeah,
like the like Shaolin monks and stuff like that do that stuff, and even other martial arts. But yeah, like doing like the iron palm technique stuff like that. I've seen that stuff, and I was like, like me, I just don't wear. I work in a warehouse, so I handle boxes all day. So
oh yeah,
I don't wear gloves with that. So I pretty much my hands just get rough, and
yeah,
every once in a while, I'm not a big fan of lotion. Lotion is the devil to me. It just feels weird. So I mean, every once in a while I have to use some, but I mean, as far as most time, I don't ever put any kind of stuff on my hands or anything like that. I have
Unless
been asked to.
somebody- I was gonna say, unless somebody sponsors you, right? You get a hand cream lotion sponsor, like, hey, slap some on.
Yeah, I might do that. It depends. Depends on what smells they got. I say.
There you go. There you go.
No, I say, and then I've been, dispensary. Like people are like, "Oh, you should totally get a dispensary to, to give you a sponsorship." I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. Saying, it's one of those things. Like, hey, if you're a grown adult, cool. But I mean, just there's some people out there that just abuse that stuff, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm all about it, but again, too, like, there's people who make the responsible users look bad, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. And then everybody's like, oh, hey, I'm gonna follow in his footsteps, and then you get the bad ones that make everybody look bad. So I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of one of those areas I don't know if I really want to step into.
No, no, for sure, man, and it's gonna happen. There's so many sponsors from back in the day, like when I first started networking, and after I started training in '99, 2000, 2005. I was actually teaching, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and after that, I just started getting into media. A buddy of mine invited me. I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and jump on this. I knew a lot of fighters, so it was easier for him to get in, into schools and academies. But yeah, I've always been a fan of, like I said, man. I mean, networking and just trying to link the right people with the right company, and it was just fun because I was like, man, like, what, this guy's looking for this. Like, I got this guy, and I was like, hey, man, you know what, I got a fighter. He's on his way up. You know what I mean? Like, it was just easier for me to plug them in, and yeah, we'll look into it, and eventually either sponsor them or not. But I would always try though.
Yeah, I say I wouldn't mind a sponsor and stuff like that. It's a matter of the thing is right now, like the reason I started the Instagram was to try to get, maybe people to pick up on the idea of like getting a sponsor, or even more with social media. Like I mean, again, too, trying to juggle, your regular life, your job life, and then on top of that too, try to, work out and get in shape for fights, and then try to juggle. I mean, it's just like it's
Oh
like a 10,000 full-time job. So I'm like, man, I ain't got time for all that. But I mean,
no,
maybe I need it. If I get good enough, maybe I'll have to hire me like a secretary or something like
oh
that.
yeah, man, yeah, and you'd be surprised, man, because I mean, when it came to a lot of fighters, I was that guy. I was the guy that was, keeping their pages afloat. I was the guy that was linking up all the right people, you know what I mean? Like, it was
Yeah.
it was fun. I still enjoy it. I still do it, and it's just like one of those things. Like I said, I used to get a kick out of it because at the same time, it opened up more doors for myself, for my media outlet, for what I mean. Like it made it to where I was like, okay, well now I'm in inside this promotion. Like, man, let me see what else I can do and keep going with it. But yeah, man. I mean, it's it'll happen and it'll come, dude. I mean, a lot of times the brands, I mean, they do look for the followers, man. But like you said, if you a lot of these followers that you have on there, a lot of their followers are freaking robots. Dude. They're not even, you know what I mean. So they buy them, or I don't know what happens, but it's like, well, man. I mean, it's just it's not worth it. I know people that do it, and it's just ridiculous. Or it's just like, hey, man, and more power to them. But it's like when it's natural and they speak and everybody responds, that's when you got something, man.
Oh yeah, saying, and I mean, I mean, I've had like maybe one, or I don't get a lot of people that are like, but I know I have friends that are like, oh hey, I know that you slap fight, and they're like, when's your next fight, or something like that. But um, as far as actually getting recognized, I think I've gotten like, a couple on in here or there, stuff like that. But I mean, I keep pretty low key for the most part because, like I said, I work and then I go home, do the adult life stuff, and then I gotta,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
No, no, I hear you,
enjoy.
man. And of course, like you said earlier, man, you are looking forward to stepping back in there this year. I mean, is there like a date
Yeah.
or what you're looking at?
There's nothing set up yet, but I'm hoping to have some news for everybody probably in about another week or so. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll be definitely posting anything that comes up as far as any announcements up on my social media probably the next week or two. At
Sweet.
least hopefully, cross your fingers,
Oh,
Uh,
no, no, for sure.
but yeah, I say as far as yeah, I'm just ready to get back in there. I say it's been a while, and I mean, there's just something about when you get in there, it kind of makes you feel alive, compared to you're like, man, like you just do the everyday thing, go to job, you work the 9 to 5, and then come home, and you're like, man, then you got this one extra thing, and you're like, hey, I can go and slap somebody, and they can
Right?
slap me, and then so it gives you a nice little intervals where you're like not so boring routine 9 to 5.
No, yeah. I mean, I think at my last job, man. I mean, we're talking about like, man, there should be a rule to where it's like every 45 minutes, bell goes on, and like for 15 seconds, you should be we could be able to go and just start hitting people with pillows, just to let the frustration out, man. But it
Oh
does help.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, of course, that's what they work out, just to go out there and let that frustration out, man. But the fact that you're doing what you're doing, man. I mean, I wish you the best, bro. I mean, if news does drop, I mean, I'm gonna be on top of that. But we'll
I'll
definitely
say,
bring you back, bro. We'll definitely bring you back and keep talking and see what's next.
oh yeah, definitely, man. Saying, yeah, I say I definitely am looking forward to it, and then saying that, and also I was like, hey, saying you were when oh god, I'm terrible with names. You were interviewing the guy the other day, and that's how we even linked up, because I had messaged, commented on it about you guys.
Oh yes, yeah, and that's
Yeah,
actually ironically that's
uh,
we call that's my buddy Frank the Tank, Texas.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I was thinking that was kind of funny because there's that Frank the Tank, and then there's a slap fight. There's Frank the Tank and slap fight championship.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
When you said that, I was thinking that we're talking about the same person, but not, so.
but
But yeah,
yeah, I say yeah, but it was definitely cool that you were like, hey, you want to set something up, and I was like, hey, yeah, I'm always down.
no, no, for sure. Because I have been wanting to,
Yeah,
man. I know when I had added you on there, I was like, oh man, I gotta hit this dude up, man. I mean, just to see, because, like I said, I mean, there's shows that I watch, and it's like one of those, like, oh, I don't want to watch this, but then I go back, and I'm like, okay, I gotta see what happens, man. And just earlier today, I was watching one, and it was like, wow, I'll see what happens. Sure enough, man, it was one of those bombs. Boom, lights out, brother. I was
yeah.
like, whew. I mean, it's some vicious stuff.
Especially the knockouts, definitely. They're usually ones you got to rewind, and you're like, oh, I gotta see that again. Oh man, oh yeah,
No, no, for sure, man. But bro, I mean, don't hang up yet, man. But I do appreciate you jumping on this. For everybody out there, of course, follow the guy, follow him on Facebook, follow him on Instagram, Slap Fight Championship, of course, man. Follow the platform. Everybody out there, of course, sPidA here, DeFi Car Podcast. Till next time, follow up.